Jordan, what's today's topic?
Today we will be talking about redefining masculinity and femininity, breaking stereotypes and embracing authenticity. Ooh, that kind of rhymed.
Yes, it did, yo. So that's the topic for today. And today is going to be like a two-part kind of thing. So today we're going to do with a lot of male callers coming in today. And right now we got one on the line. I know, right? We always have trouble getting people to call in. We got one today. So right now we got a caller one on the line. Caller one. Jordan, what's your question for caller one?
So the question is, how would you define masculinity and femininity? Are they fluid or fixed concepts?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Good to be with you. Yeah, it's a really good question. You know, what's funny about that is I've never really thought about, for me, what masculinity and femininity means. It always just kind of seemed like something just occurred naturally to me, but I know that it's a big topic right now, and I guess if I had to think about it, for me, masculinity represents someone who's a provider, someone who's protective, someone who just kind of is that rock, that stable rock that keeps it all together and kind of holds his own. But that's probably based on the way that I was raised. And I do think it can be fluid. I do think it can change. And I know for me, it has changed over the years. To be honest, I was raised in a very egalitarian household, and my father would cook and clean, and I do all those things now as well. When I was young, we were taught to all cook, we were taught to all clean, we were taught, things that a lot of people probably traditionally think are more, I guess, feminine roles or the women roles. We were never raised that way. We were taught that you got to be able to cook for yourself, clean for yourself, do all the laundry and all that stuff. And so those lines were always kind of blurred as far as household chores and all that kind of stuff goes. It can be fluid, and that's probably one example of what probably the standard society would call sort of a blurred line with masculinity and femininity. And I think masculinity is different things for different people. There's no definition of what makes a man feminine or masculine. I think it's whatever comes naturally to you. It's whatever your genetics provides you, and that's just my personal take on it.
Right. So you touched on two things, not only masculinity and femininity, but also gender roles and expectations. So in your household, masculinity wasn't synonymous with male stereotypical gender roles, which is very rare, I feel like, in today's society.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not at all. A lot of my friends, they think it's funny that I love to cook. I love clean. For me, it's solace. And, the typical stuff that, a lot of people would say, hey, why are you doing that? Why are you all in the kitchen all the time? And, but I love it. And that's just how I was raised. For me, like I said, there was no real gender role. My dad was like, look, when you get out on your own, you need to learn how to take care of yourself. And let me tell you something, man. Those are things that have probably helped me in ways that I cannot thank my family enough for, because as a grown man, it really brings a certain sense of independence. And when you can take care of yourself and do all those things that, a lot of people traditionally would say, hey, why are you doing that? That's the woman's job or whatever. I do those things for myself, and it makes me very independent. So I'm happy for that.
Right.
That's a good way to do it. That's a good way to go about it. I appreciate your input on it and everything.
Well,
you got any other questions for him, Jordan?
I think he answered, whether he feels like there are double standards when it comes to masculinity and femininity.
That's an interesting question. So, sometimes we scroll Instagram, and I always run into this one clip where, I think it was Anthony Mackie. He was like, he told the girl, he was like, what if you told your girl to make you a sandwich and she said no, something like that. Why are you telling me to do it? And he said, well, if we go out and somebody disrespect you, you want me to fight him, right? And she was like, hell yeah, you got it. Hell yeah. I think it was Wendy Williams show or something like that.
Yeah, it was the Wendy Williams show. I remember that.
Yeah. So he was like, well, that's a perception of a male's role, is that you're supposed to protect, you're supposed to make sure you're the one that. So it was like, well, the perception is also that a woman is more nurturing, a woman is more caring, and so part of that is, hey, if I'm hungry and I need you to do something for me, like take care of me, hey, you should be able to do that. So I thought that was funny, because the women in the crowd, as soon as he said, make daddy a sandwich, you know, you
got all like the booze and all like, oh no, we ain't doing that. Not these days. We're not doing that. But and it's funny how he says that, but he is right though, where it's like nowadays they want you to be the traditional old school kind of guy, but then why they want the new age woman to be the new age, and it's like, so you can't really be like, oh, you want a man to be traditional while you're progressing and you're progressing.
But that's exactly where we are. There was literally a woman on YouTube the other day who was a progressive, and she was talking about how she had trouble finding men or dating men that were progressive because they wouldn't hold the door for her, they wouldn't pay for the bill, they wouldn't do all of the traditional things. And I'm like, well, that's part of being progressive. Those gender roles go out the door, but you can't cherry pick.
To answer your question, I definitely think that there is a double standard. You know, a lot of ladies out there, they're more independent these days. They love their freedom. We're not living in the 30s no more. Women have a lot more power. They have a lot more freedom, and I think that's a beautiful thing. But a caveat of that is now a lot of women, you know, feel like they don't need a man, and so there's a certain level of imbalance in a lot of relationships now, where women don't feel like they necessarily, and vice versa, by the way, men too. Sometimes don't necessarily respect each other the way that they should, because it's like, well, now I don't need you. I'm independent. I can do my own thing, and you got to give me what I want, or I'm out. So, you know, but if you ask a lady sometimes, okay, I'm supposed to be a protector, your provider, like Anthony Mackie said, if somebody disrespect you out there, you want me to punch me in the face. But she was like, hell yeah, that's your job, that's your role. But if I ask you to do something that would be traditionally like, hey, a lady, what would be considered a woman's sort of role, you said, hell no, I'm not doing that. This is the 2000s. What do you think this is? But so to me, I do see a little bit of a double standard out there, and I think we have some catching up to do as far as where's that line. If women are becoming more independent and saying, well, look, I need you to be the man in a relationship, but then they're also wanting to do the things that are what would be considered the man's role, or take charge in the way that a man would be considered what would make you manly, then which do you want? Do you want the old ways where it's like, I'm the man in the relationship and these are my roles, or do you want the new way where it's like it's equal? You can't have both. You got to pick one or the other.
Right. I see what you're saying. Thank you for delving in deep with that topic with us.
We appreciate your time, Carla. Don't want to take up too much of it. I know you probably got a busy day. Thank you for calling in, and please stay tuned. Check us out. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram. We also got a Twitter. You know what I mean? So, we got all the social.